Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe. So in this video we're going to go over the logic of logging in and signing up for the for our project. So to begin, I'm going to go to my project folder. So as you can see before, we have our main, so we just did all the icons. We've implemented I don't know why this is here, we can close that out. So we have our home, workout, stats, profile, and then the login we have right here. Because we're going to add the logic now for logging into our home stack. So this is what we're going to be doing today. So to begin, first what we need to do is go to our first we need to change directories into our project. So right now if I type ls, I'm in my parent folder. I need to get to my project folder, so let's say cd, do my workout app 2, which is the name of my project, type ls, and as you can see now I'm in the same folder as my project. So from here what I need to do is create a file inside of my source folder that's going to be used to keep context for the logic of our project. So I'm going to right click on my source, create a new file. I'm just going to call this context.js. I'm going to capitalize it. So then in my context, it's really a simple thing that we're going to be doing. We're just going to import React and then the create context from React, and all we're doing is exporting const, and then I'm going to call this the auth context, and then I'm going to pass in the function create context. So this helps with the project. Remember if you're logged in or not, and it's going to be shared amongst our login and logout, so the project knows what we're doing. So that's actually it for the context. You can close out. We're going to never use that again. So inside of the main, inside of our main function, what we want to do is first, because we're using async storage to retrieve the data from our database, what we need to do is import async storage from, and then it's going to be at React native community async storage, and then what we also want to do is import our auth context. So what we want to do is also import our auth context too. So I'm going to say import auth context from, and then it's just from what we just created, so context. So now that we have this taken care of, we're also going to need to do two more things. Yes, two more things. So actually we're going to need three more things. So inside of our import from React, what we also need to do is import our use effect, because we want to have it set to retrieve the key if it's available. Then what we want to do is useMemo and then useReducer from React. Now, since we have this taken care of, what we need to do is first go to our main, which is right here, and then we're going to create some initial states for our project. So I'm going to say const initial auth state is equal to, and then these are just some things that we're going to set as defaults. So I say is loading, and then I'm going to set that to true. And say our user name is going to be null. Then we say user first name is also going to be null. Our user last name is going to be null. Our user token is going to be null, and that will be it for the initial values. So after this, what we want to do is create a reducer state. So I'm say const login reducer state, and we're going to have just one state, and that's going to be I'm going to call it action state. We're going to pass it in a single parameter. And then we're going to create a switch case. Let me add a space here. So we're going to create a switch case and just have three different types of states that we're going to be using for our logging in logic. So I'll say case. I'll say retrieve token, because we want to retrieve this from our database. So I'll say return, and then inside of here I'm going to say user token, and then I'm going to say action state dot user underscore token, and then I'm going to say is loading is going to be false. Yes, but before I kind of jumped ahead because I need to add this switch statement up here. So you switch, I'll say action state dot type, and then inside of here I'm going to put that. So now we're good. So that's the first case. And then we have a second case. So the second case is login. I'm doing this. So this case is login, return, and in our login state, what we're going to have is our username set to the action state dot user underscore name. Then we're going to have the user first name as the action state dot first name. Then we're going to have user last name as the action state dot last name, and then we're going to have the user token be set to the action state user token. And we have is loading set to false, because if it's logged in, we don't want to have to log in splash screen. Keep on loading, so we're going to set to false. So once that's done, then we want the last case, which is going to be log out. So case, then we're going to call this log out. Be return, and then we're going to have the username set to null, the user first name set to null, the user last name set to null, the user token set to null, and then we're going to have is loading set to false. So in case they are logged in and then they choose to log back out, instead of having the load splash screen appear, where it's just going to be the basic sign-in screen. So once that is done, what we need to do is now create some states to dispatch in case it is successful. We want to set our variables accordingly, update the states. So I'm going to say const login state dispatch state, and then I'm actually going to move this up. I'm actually move this up to underneath the main. Stay consistent. So I'm going to say is equal to useReducer, and then in here I'm going to have login reducer state, and then the initial auth state. So we are going to have the initial auth state, which is right here, and then we're going to have the reducer state. So if it's dispatched and updated, it will change accordingly. So then down here, what I'm going to do is now create a memo. So we're going to try and see, so we're going to try and change the variables if they are successful. So I'm going to say let auth context, say lowercase a, so let auth context is equal to useMemo, and then I'm going to have this return. So say return, and then I'm going to have a couple different states. So if signed in is a state, then I'm going to have it update the variables so that they can be updated accordingly. So say sign in, say async, because we're using async storage, I'll say user name, user first name, user last name, and then the user token. Then I'll say try. I'm going to say await, say async storage dot set item, and then I'm going to create an item called user token, and I'm going to have it set to the user token. Then I'm going to, instead of typing all this out, I'm just going to press Alt Shift and then do this 3 more times. So say set item, instead of user token this time, it's going to be, and I'm going to press Ctrl D to select the next one. Let's say user first name, set the user first name. Then I'm going to say user last name, and then I'm going to set the user name. So token, first name, last name, and then the username. So because it's a try and it's async, what we also have to do is so what we have to do now is do a try catch block. So I'll say catch, inside of here I'll say error, and then I'll say console.log, and then I'll put error. But if this is successful, then I want to do a dispatch state, and then my dispatch state, I want to say the type, in this case is going to be login, and then I'm going to set my variables that I have here. So under login I have action state username, first name, last name. So I'm going to say user underscore name colon is username, and then I'll have the first underscore name be user first name, and then I'll have the last underscore name be user last name, and then I'll have the user underscore token be the user token. So that's it for the first one. Now I need to do a second one for the sign out state. So I'll say sign out. It's an async function. Then down here I'll say try await. I'll say async storage dot remove item. Then I want to just remove the user token, because I want to remove the user token. And then I want to, instead of typing this out, I'm just going to press Shift Alt and then do this 3 more times, because I want to just remove. Next is going to be the first name, so I'll say user first name, and I'll say user last name, and then the user name. And because this is a try block, you have to do a catch. So I'll do another error. Say console.log error. And then I'll have the dispatch state. So if this is successful, then I'll do a dispatch state. Inside of here, I'll just do a type of logout. And then I'll just put a comma here in case I have to add more states later on. And then at the end, because I'm not inputting anything, it's still proper to have an empty array, because it's just proper to have an empty array. Let me move this down here, see if this does anything. So then I'll just put this above my useMemo right here. So after this, I'm going to put my splash screen. I'm going to enable it whenever I first use the app. So let's say use effect. Inside my use effect, I'm going to have a set timeout. And then because I am now retrieving from an async function, I have to have an async, I have to use asynchronization, so I'll say async in here, and then I will say let user token equal null, and I'll say try user token is equal to await async storage dot get item user token. Then if this is not successful, I'm going to catch what the error is, and then I'm going to console.log that error. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is let the set the state. So I'll say dispatch state, and then I'm going to put type is retrieve token, and then I have the user underscore token be set to user token. Let me put a space here. So then inside my set timeout, I'm going to have a wait time of 3 seconds. Let's say 3000, because this is in milliseconds. And then after this, I'm going to put, after in the last 2 closing tags, I'm going to say a comma. And again, it's always nice to have a empty array. And then from here, I'm going to say, put a little logic. I'm going to say if login state dot is loading, then I'll say return splash. So if it is loading, and then it's going to return the splash, and then if it fails to load, then it's going to take me straight to the login, which is going to be done right down here. So in my return statement here, I'm now going to put inside of my navigation, outside of my navigation container, I'm going to say auth context dot provider value is equal to, and in here I'm going to say auth context. Yes, it's not exactly the most appropriate thing to say, so I'll actually change this. So I'm going to say auth context, say authentication context. That way it's a little bit better. And so I'm just going to put all of this inside of, or outside of my navigation container. I'm now going to make this a little more clean and tidy. So inside my navigation container, I'm going to put this open close braces and say login state dot user token question mark. So if that is the case, then what I want to do is take my load my home tabs. So I'll say root stack dot navigator header mode is equal to none. So inside of here, I'll say root stack dot screen. I'll put the name is equal to home tabs, and the component is equal to home tab screen. And I'm going to close this out. So that's if it is a if there's a user token, I'm going to have that set immediately. Otherwise, I'm going to return my auth stack. So I'll have a open close parentheses here. Then I'll say root stack dot navigator inside of here. Okay, so let me first add the header mode here. I'll put root stack dot screen name is equal to auth stack, and then I'll put the component is equal to auth stack screen. So then what I can do is get rid of this down here because we have already done this. Save this. And now if I go to my login screen right here, what I want to do is import my auth context at the top. So I'll, under my logo, I'll say import auth context from, and then I'll say where the context is located, so I // and then its context. Then underneath my variables here, I'm going to say let, and then sign in, because that's the name of my context that I used here. Sign in. Say let sign in equal use. Oh, I forgot that I need to import. Actually, I did use it already. So I would say use context. And then I'm going to pass in the variable auth context because I'm passing it in from here. And then at the bottom, where I have my console.log, what I'm going to do is get rid of that and say sign in. Then I would say result dot, and then what we want to do is pass it in what we have here. So user underscore name result dot first name result.lastName, and then result.userToken. So then that should allow us to log into our home tabs, and then we can begin doing the necessary screens. But to make sure this works, what I want to do now is go to my terminal and start up my emulator. So I'll say react-native run-android. And it works. So now if I go to my account here, just type in my username. In this case, I'm going to say GriceD. I'll just actually put David Grice. My password is just going to be 61, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My first name is David. My last name is Grice. Submit. Register successfully. Come back here to the login screen. My name is David. My username is David Grice. My password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ones. Press login, and now it takes me to the home screen. So this is the logic here to come back to your profile and your home screen. I don't have a logout state yet because that will be implemented probably in the next video, maybe, or a couple videos after that, but I just want to get the logic down to help you guys get the your app looking more like an app and not like a 3 separate stacks. I wanted to combine them all together. Anyways, so this has been the video. Before we close out, of course, what we need to do is fix the GitHub. So I'm going to close out of my emulator, close out of Node. Now we're back here to square one. So what you want to do is add this to your GitHub online. So say git add star. Once that is done, I'm going to say git commit -m, and then I'm going to say added authentication logic. So see it has 3 files changed, and then I'm going to say git push --set -u origin master. So as you can see, it has been successful in updating the thing, but just to verify, let's go to our browser, go to GitHub. Under here, what we want to do is go to our master, then it's been updated 33 seconds ago. Go to our source, we now have our context.js, and then we have our auth stack. In our auth stack we have our login, which was updated, but the main thing that we want to do is our main. And as you can see, we have everything updated accordingly, and it will now work for you to log in and out of your profile, yes, for this app. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next videos. Until then, have a great time, and stay safe, everyone.